Hi everyone, so today I'll be reviewing and testing the 40 volt cordless lawnmower from Lidl, and I'd imagine you'll be able to get it out of Aldi's as well. But as always, there's going to be a bit of a twist here. I won't be using these tiny little puny batteries. I will be using these batteries on it. So I've got electric bike batteries here, which compared to the ones being sold in Lidl are enormous. You could mow a whole field with these probably. So what have we got here? It says it's 40 volts. Usually batteries are like 36 or 48 volts, but 40 volts. I reckon that's probably the same cell count as 36 anyway, so we'll just consider it a 36 volt motor. So I've got this battery here which could be connected in series with this one, and that will give us the roughly 40 volts we need. And these are 15 amp hours. That would be a 36 volt 15 amp hour battery roughly, so that'll give us lots of mowing time. I think the batteries that you could buy for this, I'm not sure. I think I saw them in the shop. They were about 5 amp hours, so they're not. You get two of them, 20 volt, 5 amp hours, which is not really that much. I don't know if it would be enough to mow what I have out there, because I've got that small area of grass out there as well as a small area out of the front. So maybe what I'm doing is overkill, but the thing is I've already got those batteries here, so rather than me spending money on yet more batteries, I could just use them. So there we go, that's how it's packaged. It just comes like this. So one thing to consider is, because I'm using my own batteries on it, it's possible that there's some sort of sense connector in there where it senses that it's the right type of battery, or interfaces with some sort of safety system or whatever. So there may even be the necessity there for me to just sort of put my own electric bike controller on this lawnmower anyway, because it has got a brushless motor on it, which is a very good thing to have. But if it's not going to work with my batteries, then I do have electric bike controllers lying around that I can just put inside it as well, and I'll show you how to do that if you're really into your electrical stuff and playing about with things like this. I was thinking that maybe I've got a throttle here, I can just have an electric bike controller on it and just have this on the handlebars and use that, and obviously when you take your hand off it, it just switches off. Okay, so let's have a look at the rating plate. So 40 volts, 16 amps. Okay, so that's the whole unit opened up now, and yeah, that's quite a big motor in there. It's much more than I was expecting for a cheap cordless tool out of Aldi or Lidl. That's quite impressive. Yeah, it was about, I think it was £80 this cost me, and that's pretty decent for something that's got a DC brushless motor in it. So that's all the sort of control connections going up to here, display for battery life, auto, eco, etc. I just was taking it apart mainly just to show you what's positive and negative, so I've marked it anyway. So main positive is there and negative is this one there. So I'm just going to try and liven it up with 40 volts and see what happens. It's got a connection here now. These are for the sort of third sort of signal wires coming off each battery, so it's possible that without anything connected to those, the system won't even start up. And I don't know what voltage or signal is meant to be present there. It'd be good if I did though. Well, never mind. If this controller just will not switch on at all, then it looks like I'll just have to stick an electric bike controller on it and just handlebar throttle up here, and just wire the throttle into this as well, so that you can't actually use the lawnmower unless you pull that at the same time, which is something I should be capable of doing. But yeah, it's a 3-phase AC motor that's in there, brushless, so that's pretty decent. Okay, so I've tried to get this controller to work for ages, and it's basically due to two sort of test wires. That's them there. It's got these test wires that go up into the two batteries that you would slot into this, and if the correct voltages aren't present, it just won't turn on at all. I tried connecting it to lots of different things, but it would either just beep at me or just not turn on. I only got it to turn on once, and then it just sort of cut out again. So unfortunately this controller is useless, but I'm just going to put this electric bike controller in it, because it's a brushless motor. You just need to grab yourself a sensorless electric bike controller, and well, this particular one is just going to fit perfectly in there on these otherwise unused mounting posts, so I could just stick it in there, wire it up, and on this bar I'll just I'll try and mount a throttle. I think the only way I'll be able to mount it though is I'll have to take off all this plastic and slide the throttle up, because that's a throttle I could use if it fit on. And it's like it's actually not going to fit, so we'll probably have to look at a different option, because you can't actually split that open and put it on. It wouldn't work. So as for a throttle, not too sure what I would do. Probably just find some sort of, you know, those analog potentiometers, just put one of those on it, and maybe just put it inside there and have it connected up to this handle, so you can just set your speed there and turn it on with the handle. So I'll just get to work on that just now. Okay, here we go. So that's the sort of power switch and display opened up. So I just peeled this sticker off the front, and this panel was sort of in here, and this just came out from behind it. So what I'm going to do now is just sort of rewire this so that I can have a little voltage display. I've got a voltmeter lying somewhere, just a little LCD voltmeter, and that'll just be powered off the electric bike controller itself, because they give out 5 volts. That'll just come off, and I'll just sort of tap into this connection here. I'll just cut this off, so that these switches there, I'll just wire these in such a way that usually an electric bike controller has a red wire that needs to be connected to positive, so that to turn on the electronics in the controller. So I'll just wire that in so it's triggered when this is pressed. So when this is pulled in, the controller will switch itself on and they boot up almost instantly anyway, so it's not like it's going to take a long time to start up. And as for my throttle idea, I could just get a little potentiometer and just put it in there, because these electric bike controllers will work with Hall effect or potentiometer throttles, it doesn't really matter. And I'm not sure, I could maybe 3D print a little insert that goes in there, but before I do that I'll just roughly wire everything up, stick it all together, just make sure it's going to work, and then I'll make it all nice and neat. But that's controller mounted, the motor's wired up now, so I just need to connect this to a battery and be sure that everything checks out. What I could do just now actually is go and get one of my electric bike batteries and then just sort of see how fast it spins. Okay, so it's just connected up to my electric bike batteries like this. So this is a 12 cell setup, 12S and I've just got a throttle connected into a throttle connection on the controller to make sure that everything's clear. Another thing is we need to make sure that it's turning in the correct direction. They appear to be, shouldn't really be sticking my hands in there, so should be turning clockwise. Yeah, that's fine. So match the colours up right, everything seems to be fine, so I'm just going to try and wire everything up here so it's all neat. And hopefully I might give it a test run today. I like how they just put some sort of bag of sand in the front there with a sort of neat little zip on it. It's a little bit unusual. Well, that's all finally wired up, but unfortunately something's gone wrong with my voltmeter where it's showing the wrong voltage. I think I maybe damaged it. But that's all done now, and I'm just ready to put all the plastic covers back on. And this bit in the middle where the battery is connected to it just pops out, so I'd imagine what I could do is just, once this is back on top, I could just put some sort of thin piece of plywood in the bottom and then just have it like a box where I could just sit my batteries in, and then that should do it. Okay, so we finally got some decent weather, so I should be able to go out and give this a test. As you can see, I've got the 2 bike batteries in the front, so that's about 14 amp hours at 44 volts, so that should give plenty cutting time. So to turn it on, I just press the button at the side, pull the lever. The voltmeter, I don't know what's happened to that, but it's just showing completely the wrong voltage now. But I've bought a new one anyway. Then you just turn this. And it's as simple as that. So I'll take it outside and see if it's any good. Well, that's all the grass done, and after that the motor and controller were pretty much freezing cold, but and saying that, it was very, very light work. I suppose if I was to use it back at the farm with our massive bit of grass when it was long, it would probably be a different story. But I would say that lawnmower, even if you don't modify the batteries and everything, is perfect for a small area of ground like what I've got.